Hi everyone. From now onwards, I am going to deal with the third chapter of microeconomics, that is production and cost. We already completed the second and first chapter of microeconomics. No, in the last video I completed second chapter. So in this video, I am going to start third chapter, that is production and cost. So in second chapter, you studied about consumer behavior, which means what is consumer behavior, how a consumer earns income, and whatever the income he earns, how he is going to spend on purchasing goods and services. Totally, that chapter was all about studying consumer behavior, which means any particular individual behavior regarding his economic decisions. So that was all the about second chapter. And in this chapter, third chapter, that is production and cost, here we are going to study about behavior of producer. Okay, how he produces goods and how he sells in the market, whatever the amount of goods that he produces, how he sells, and how much revenue that he gets. So like that, and at what time he stops producing goods, that means producing output, and what time that he earns normal profit, and what times that he earns super normal profit. So we are all going to study in this chapter all about all these things, and you will come to know about what is normal profit and what is super normal profit in later half of this chapter. So let us start knowing what is production and what is cost. So first I will take up production, and I will deal with the meaning of production, and also I will deal with production function. So let us understand step by step in this chapter. The question is, what is production? It's not working, just a minute. What is production? So I already told you plenty of times in PUC first year while studying about the economics, first part of economics. What is production? In generally we refer as production means a good that is produced by a producer. So that is generally, in general, that is production. So what is the definition of production? So production is, it is the process. You can say it is the process. It is the process by which transformation of or conversion, transformation of inputs, or you can say raw materials, inputs into output. This is known as the production, the meaning of production. You can give some other meanings also. Production is the process, it is the work by which transformation of inputs into output. And also you can add some other meanings also. So I will add another meaning here. Adding utility. You already know what is utility. Adding utility to raw materials is known as production. So this is also a right definition regarding production. You already know what is raw material. I explained it. And also you know about inputs, and also you know about output. So let us first understand in detail about inputs and outputs one more time. So I told you, production means it is the process by which transformation of inputs into output, or else you can also add another definition regarding production, adding utility. You already know what is utility. Utility is a want satisfying power of a good. Okay, when we add want satisfying power to raw material, that will become a good. That if something is satisfying human want, then you can tell you can say to that it is a good. That has to be satisfied. That particular thing has to be satisfied human want. Then it will become a good, or it will become a service. Otherwise, it won't become service or good. So, let us first understand what is input and what is output. Okay, I will clearly write the definition of input here. Inputs are the factors. Inputs are the factors which are used in the production of goods and services. So those are whatever. See, for example, somebody has to produce sugar. In order to produce sugar, what are the factors are required to produce sugar? Just say yourself that what are the factors are required to produce sugar. Whatever the factors they are required, they are called as inputs. So let us say that I can say I am producing sugar. Okay, I am telling you what is input and what is output. Okay, output is obviously here sugar. Sugar is output here. Okay, sugar is output. I written a definition here about inputs. Inputs are the factors which are used in the production of good. Here I am producing sugar. Sugar is output here. Now I am transforming inputs. Into output. Output is sugar. Okay. And definition of input is, inputs are the factors which are used in the production of good. And now in order to produce output sugar, what are the factors which are required? First of all, I require sugar cane. Without sugar cane, how can I produce sugar? Which means sugar cane is input. It is also known as raw material. Okay, you can also say it is a raw material. Okay, then what are the other factors apart from sugar cane or raw material required to produce output sugar? See, I require machines. Machines should be there. Machines. I need land. Without land, how can I produce goods? I require a particular amount of land to establish machines or the place which are required in order to place all the equipments to produce that particular sugar. And then land required, labor required. Without labor, it is impossible to produce gold. Then what are other factors? Electricity is required. Nowadays, the role of electricity is very important. And what else? Water, etc. You can add some other inputs to produce sugar. Okay, I just took an example. Okay, it is a good. Sugar is a good. Okay, so here I will recall once again. What is production? It is the process by which transforming inputs into output. These are the inputs. What is inputs? What is the meaning of input? Inputs are the factors which are used in the production. Without these inputs, production is impossible. You can take production of any good. Without inputs, production is impossible. Preparing output is impossible. So here, what are inputs? Inputs are the factors. These are the factors I will use in the production of sugar. Without any one of these factors, I cannot be able to produce output sugar. So these are all called as inputs, and these factors are required in the production of any particular good. If to produce a particular good, we have to have raw materials, we have to have machines, we have to have land, we have to have labor, electricity, water, and etc. So these are all called inputs. Now you can see the meaning of production. So now what I am doing? I am transforming these inputs into output. So the process of this is called as production. I hope you got that point. Okay. So now you can say that who engages in the production? Who takes the responsibility of producing good? Firm. Remember, firm will take the responsibility of producing good or service, you can say. So firm will produce. Who engages in the production of good? Firm will engage in the production of good and service. So in the last year, we discussed about difference between firms and industries. I will once again I will recall that. Firm means it is a single unit in industry. Firm means it is a single unit in industry. Industry is different and firm is different. And what is industry? Industry is a group of firms. Industry is a group of firms. In the last year I explained this. So who involves in the production? Firms will produce goods and services. Who produces goods and services? Firms will produce goods and services. What is the meaning of firm? It is a single unit in industry. Okay. So what is industry? Industry is a group of firms. I will tell you an example. Let us say that Athani is a country. Athani ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಅತನಿ ಒಂದು ನಾವು ದೇಶ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನಾ ಉದ್ಯಮ ಘಟಕಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಅತನಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಉತ್ಪಾದನಾ ಘಟಕ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನಾ ಘಟಕ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫರ್ಮ್. ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಉತ್ಪಾದನಾ ಘಟಕ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಫರ್ಮ್ಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಅತನಿ ಒಳಗೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಶುಗರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಅತನಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಅತನಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅತನಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಒಂದು 5 ರಿಂದ 6 ಶುಗರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಗಳು ಇರೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅತನಿ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅತನಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಕಾರ್ಖಾನೆಗಳು, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಫರ್ಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಿಸಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಫರ್ಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಿಸಿ ನಾವು ಶುಗರ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಶುಗರ್ ಫರ್ಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಶುಗರ್ ಫರ್ಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕೂಡಿಸಿ ನಾವು ಶುಗರ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಫರ್ಮ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಶುಗರ್, it is a firm. It is not industry, it is a firm. And Ugar sugar is a firm. Kagwad sugar is a firm. Kempwad sugar is a firm. Coconut, that is also a firm. Together all these firms we call it as a sugar industry. That is in industry. Okay, that is an industry. Industry includes many of firms, plenty of firms. Now you got the point what I mean to say. Okay, so I hope you understood the meaning of firm and industry. And firm will take the responsibility of producing goods and services. Okay, firm will take the responsibility of producing sugar, that is output. Okay, and in order to produce sugar, firm will use these inputs. Firm will definitely use these inputs in the production of sugar or output. If firm will use raw materials to produce sugar, it will use machines, it will use land, it will use labor, it will use electricity, it will use water, and etc. It will use some other factors also. And these points are also called as factors of production. Okay, these things, inputs are also called as factors of production. Factors of production. Remember, inputs are also called as factors of production. Factors of production means things which are necessary for the production. Okay, so firm will use these inputs or factors of production in the factors of production in the process of production. And the important thing is, firm, after producing or before production of any particular good, firm will use these things. And important thing is, it has to pay for these inputs. They are not available in freely. Firm should pay for raw materials, that is sugarcane. It has to pay for machines. It has to pay for land. It has to pay for labor and every factor. It has to pay for every factors. Okay. So that is the payment made on. Firm will use these inputs in the process of production, and instead using these all inputs, it has to pay for it. It has to pay for reward by by making use of these factors in production. It has to pay remuneration to the inputs. Then that is called as cost of production. Cost of production. What is cost of production? Firm will use in these inputs into process of production, and it has to pay for these factors. So that is called as cost of production. So what is the meaning of cost of production? Firm must pay remuneration. Firm must pay remuneration for making use of inputs in the production. So every firm will spend its money on inputs. So these inputs are not free. Okay, for land, firm should pay rent. For labor, it has to pay wage. So like that, every inputs will be paid by the firm. So that is known as cost of production. And after incurring cost of production, firm will produce output. Okay, firm will produce output, and output will be sold. Output will be sold to the consumer, or it will be sold in the market. Then after selling output in the market, firm will get revenue. Okay, is it? So after selling output, firm will obviously earn revenue. And difference between revenue and cost of production. Revenue and cost of production. Difference between revenue and cost of production is known as profit. Okay, you got the point? Firm will incur expenditure on inputs. Firm has to pay for all the inputs which are used in the production, and so expenditure on these inputs is known as cost of production. Okay, these are the inputs, and firm will spend its money on inputs, and that is called as cost of production. And after making use of these inputs in the process of production, firm will produce good or output, and whatever the amount of output it produces, it will sell in the market, and after selling that output in the market, it will get revenue, and minus cost of production is known as the firm's profit. And the main objective of every firm is to earn profit. The goal of firm is earning a profit, not earning anything else, or not incurring losses, not any other objectives. No, there are some other objectives also, but the main or important objective of the firm, of every firm, is to earn profit. Okay. So if firm is not able to earn profit, then that firm will shut down. It has to, if that firm is working, which means that firm is earning revenue. If any firm is not earning profit, that firm is going to shut down very short. So this is about the introduction of the third chapter, that is production and cost. In the next video, I will start production function. Thank you.